The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Tuesday. I'm Tim Donnelly. Graham Hill producing the show with us again today. And we're starting the show off with a bang on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. We have Dave Doeren, NC State head football coach, taking us through the offseason. Coach, thank you very much for taking the time to jump on the phones with us.
You're welcome.
I have to ask, 2024, State as a whole has been kind of on a heater. A couple of Final Fours. We just saw the baseball team make it to Omaha. Added pressure to keep it rolling in the fall?
No, we're excited for the other teams and excited for our program. You know, we had great momentum coming out of the final 5 games of our regular season, and really proud of the men's and women's basketball teams and Coach Avent and the baseball team. They've had a great ride as well.
Trying to build off of that run late last season. The transfer class has been one of the topics of the offseason. Quarterback, multiple wide receivers, multiple running backs, tight end, multiple offensive linemen. The offense seems to be pretty shaken up. Have they surprised you at all since they got on campus, or are they exactly kind of what you ordered out of the portal?
Yeah, I think we're definitely happy with the guys that have joined the team, and it was fun to be with them in the off season and help get better and see what they can do in the spring. I think our spring game really showcased a lot of the offensive playmakers with the first group anyway, and defensively we've added some pieces here in the second portal window to help that side of the ball. So we're excited about the young guys coming in and the older guys that have joined, and now it's just trying to get them all to gel.
Dave Doeren, NC State head football coach, joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Coach, so much starts with the quarterback, and you've gotten pretty good at kind of working different guys in and molding the offense around it with an off season with Grayson McCall kind of working with Coach Anai. How do you expect the version of this year's offense to look?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Coach Anai is known for. He understands how to make things happen through the skill sets of his players and evolving the system each year based on that, what the quarterback's good at, what the O-line can do in the run game. What is your skill and where are the playmakers and how do you feature them and get them the football? And it's no different this year. Grayson, a proven winner, a 3-time conference player of the year at his former school, and a guy that comes in here with a big chip on his shoulder that is a tremendous leader. So we're excited, that we have Grayson McCall here and the players around him that'll help him.
That chip on the shoulder is funny, right? I played at the FCS level, so I know when you're looking at that level above, right, for him from Group of 5 to Power 5, you kind of hold the chip against like everyone at that level that didn't recognize your awesomeness, right? Does that chip on the shoulder, like, is part of it trying to prove almost to somebody like you who was in the area recruiting and maybe let him slip through the fingers to a Group of 5 school?
I think the whole ACC, in general, he's a North Carolinian from Charlotte, and played in an option offense in high school, and the guys at Coastal gave him a shot. He took advantage of his opportunity, and now he's got a shot here to do the same thing, and he definitely has something to prove. It's really not to me. I think more of this is to himself, but also the value you get out of doing something that people didn't think you could do, and that's always been something I know as an individual and coaching guys on our team. When you can go out and show that you are who you say you are, it's a big deal.
We're talking with Dave Doeren, the head coach of NC State football, taking us through the offseason. Coach, I know you aren't much for outside noise, but we've also seen you call out some haters in the past. Seems like the expectations and the hype, at least from where we sit, are pretty positive, right? The hype is kind of rising. How do you deal with that side of things when maybe players are reading headlines or social media or all the things that coaches don't like to deal with are getting in their ear?
You just try to stay in the moment. All those things are great. I know we're still not being picked to win the league, and we've got a lot to prove to show that we're that team and take that next step. And, whether they're talking good or bad about us isn't going to equate to wins and losses. It's going to be about the process of preparation and lifting and running and practice and film study and nutrition and all the things that go into being good at what you do. And for me, building the chemistry of our staff and our team so that we're a closer-knit group of guys than the people on the other sideline, and that's kind of where the focus has to be. Any notoriety that we have, I feel like we've earned over time, being a consistent stable program that year in and year out competes well against everybody and has won a lot of games.
Are you aware, and or is it come across, or has anyone brought up to you the Salty Dave persona that some people have put on you?
Yeah, I hear about it from my family a lot. Yeah, so I've heard that many times.
How do you react to that? Is it something you embrace, right? Because it's again, from where I said it's a compliment, right? The Salty Dave stuff comes out after you punch back against a hater or win a big game that people didn't think you were going to win. Is it do you enjoy having a little Salty Dave come out of your personality every now and then?
I think that's just who I am, and I've always been a guy that felt like he had to work his way up and prove, what he could do. Whether it's playing FCS football and starting as a high school coach and working my way up, the profession and having to build a name for myself. And I don't know, I just think I carry that chip on my shoulder here. I always have, and you just got to know how to manage it. But there's no question that's part of who I am, and like I said at the beginning, when people come out and say things about our program, my job's to defend it, and the first way to do that is winning, and actions on the field, and I'm going to stand up for our program. I mean, that's one of my jobs, in my opinion, here is to build our brand, and it's not fake. I mean, people are going to talk a certain way about our program, about me, then our job is to prove them wrong and be able to stand on it.
Dave Doeren, NC State head football coach, joining us here on The Drive on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. To transition to the defensive side of the ball for a second, a guy that you could easily see having a building named after him one day, replacing Peyton Wilson, it's not going to be easy. Is replacing the leadership something you talk about in the offseason? And if so, who do you see kind of filling that void?
Yeah, I think, a lot of people ask that question, and there isn't ever one person that replaces a great player. I think collectively the returning players have to be better than they were, and that's what their goal is in the off season, is to be a better version of themselves. And collectively you make up for a singular person, and not that there won't be an outstanding player at linebacker, there will be, but that has to be earned on the field. And Sean Brown, we've moved to that position from our safety room, and he's had a really good off season. But there's a number of guys, and Davin Van's going to be a better D lineman than he was last year. So is Brandon Cleveland, Travali Price, Aiden White at corner. There's a number of guys returning in our defense that we expect better from, and they do the same. And collectively, when they play at a higher level, then it helps, And so we're going to ask a lot more from everybody, and leadership's a big part of every off season. You're always trying to replace what you had the year before, the vocal guys that step out of your program and move on. You have new opportunities for younger guys to take the reins.
And finally here, before we let you go, and thank you for taking the time, this is the question. I'm going to sneak it in at the end because I feel like coaches are exhausted of talking about it, but it is such a big part of college sports now. Long time ago, college football became an every day of the year thing, right? There's no longer a true off season, but how much of your off season now compared to even just a year or two ago is spent fundraising and worrying about NIL?
Yeah, it's a big part of what we do now. I think every head coach would tell you that the fundraising aspect has always been present when it came to, getting facility dollars and things like that. But now it's transitioned to the player side, and it's easy to sit around and complain, and, I kind of choose not to. You got to find a way to be successful and compete. And, we've just rolled up our sleeves and gone out and did the best that we could. We have a great collective. Our athletic director does a really good job helping us generate revenue in every way he can. So it's just a collective effort to be competitive in that space. And obviously, when you win games, that only helps, And so we'll see where it goes. We're in a big evolving state as a college department of athletics across the country in every sport. And it's probably the biggest evolution ever in college sports with what's happening with the settlement and everything else. So you just kind of got to roll with it and find your best way to be successful.
Is there a consensus or an understanding of what the market is for a starting ACC linebacker or anything like that? Or is it just kind of you're raising as much as you can and you hope it's enough?
No, I think over time we started to understand the value that exists, and there's always one-offs that are, kind of unexplainable. But for the most part, generally what linemen, D linemen, receivers, quarterbacks value is in the NIL spaces, and obviously some teams can outspend, and so you're not in the ballpark sometimes. Sometimes you are.
Dave, we appreciate you for taking the time to jump on the show with us, and hopefully we're able to catch up again later this offseason.
No, thanks for having me. Go Pack.
Once again, that's Dave Doeren, NC State head football coach, joining us on The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan.